Okay? Seals of sandpaper, a bit abrasive, but always smooths things out. Green blood, thank you. Devon Witherspoon's my favorite ball player. Seattle took him, Illinois cornerback. Not a shocker. Pete Carroll, corner, secondary, Legion of Boom. Wants to go back to building that up again. Not a shocker. Paris Johnson, one of the sandbox guys. Paris Johnson was one of the sandbox guys. I didn't realize this Skornowski kid, his grandpa was a Connecticut guy, and he was drafted back in the day, went to Indiana University, and ended up playing for the Packers and won 5 titles in 9 years as a member of the Green Bay Packers. So we're going to stop there. We'll stop at Paris Johnson here. I want to bring Philly 500 in now.
Paulie Walnut style. What's up?
See?
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
That's who he is.
I love it.
Hey, isn't it ironic too, Philly, that they took him at 9? Jerome was taken at 9.
I thought of that last night too. I said, how weird is that? You know, because you say he reminds you of Jerome. Seth Joyner said the same thing. So, I mean, you tell me that we're getting Jerome Brown. How could you not be happy with that pick?
How about this too, Philly? I said if you come away with one of the sandbox guys,
right,
and I mean the wow guys, Bijan, and hey, and I'll get to him in a second. Paris, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, and maybe Tyree Wilson, or if you want to go Bryce Young, that's fine. Those are one of the sandbox guys. This is what I think played out here. So Chicago was not taking a DT. But what they were afraid of is someone else moving up like New England or someone jumping in there and getting the Chicago pick. And Chicago was looking at one of the O-line. It's a pretty good O-line draft. They got a bunch of O-linemen. They're all graded the same. So they wanted to get ahead and get that pick. Once Bijan went 8 to Atlanta, you notice that's when they made the pick. I think they were hoping that they had the choice between both those players.
Yeah, I mean, the way the draft was falling out, that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping that Bijan and Jalen would be at 9, and then we would be guaranteed one of those guys. But I got to tell you, when Atlanta took Bijan Robinson, I thought to myself, "Oh, we're going to lose Jalen Carter to Chicago. They're going to take him." That was going through my mind. It got really depressing, but the Eagles moved up quick and they did the right move. Who cares about a 4th round pick in 2024? Who cares?
I don't care. Howie's off season so far for you?
Oh, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. But
is this his best time? Is this his best time as GM of the Eagles?
This has been really, really impressive, especially, with having the Giant Hurts contract and stuff. I would say this year or last year. I think the last 2 years, he's been on a roll.
Would you say that Jeffrey Lurie trusts him more now than he did prior to being put in the broom closet? Because he just looks like a different dude now.
Yeah, he's totally different. The thing with Howie is he seems like when he's aggressive, and he acts aggressively and tries to dictate what he wants, he's very successful. When they sit back and wait and passive, it seems like that's when they get screwed up. I think he's very good at being, very aggressive. You know your target, you know what you want, go get it,
Philly, do you agree that a lot of the things that are being said about him, I don't think this is being brought up enough. I know they got a really great guy that they trust in the building, this guy, Dom, who's head of security. But follow me here when I say this to you. His agent is Drew Rosenhaus. That was Jerome Brown's agent.
I didn't know that.
I'm going to tell you here, that negotiation that went on between Darius Slay and guess who Darius Slay's agent is? Drew Rosenhaus. And as that was going on, I think that impressed the Eagles because here's the one thing that I know for 40 years what Drew does. He told Antonio Brown to pound pavement because he wasn't listening to him anymore. And he's not going to deal with players that don't listen to him because he's going to guide you through. This is the same guy, Philly, that got Willis McGahee drafted in a leg brace with ACL and MCL when he blew his leg out in the national title game to Buffalo. Yeah. He's the best salesman going. And I think they felt comfortable that Drew's going to keep an eye on them, along with the leadership inside that locker room, that I think that's why they're being overprotective about this guy's character and why Nick and Howie jumped that dude's ass. Do you agree yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, they've dealt with Rosenhaus for a long time.
Yep.
So they know how he operates. I really think having Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean are a big factor in the Jalen Carter
and Tracy
situation. Yeah. And then I thought that question I guess was Rube. I thought that was very unfair, man. Like, how could you make a judgment on a guy on a Zoom call? I thought that was absolutely horrible.
Oh, I told him. It bugged me, and I talked to Trey Scott, their D-line coach, and get this: the guys at Georgia are like this. Hey, is he a little bit rambunctious? Is he a little bit of a wild card? Is he a little bit of a handful? Does he? Here, let me tell you how. Tell me if you would think this guy was bad. This is what Jerome Brown, and by the way, Aunt Betty, I'm going to say exactly what Jerome would say, because remember something, Philly, he was recruited by Howard Schnellenberger, not Jimmy. I'm a Jimmy guy. Okay. So there was kind of a relationship thing that they had to build up. Jimmy would give this speech like this. He'd go, I want everybody to come in. I want them to play hurricane football. I want you to go, all that stuff. And he wouldn't get 2 seconds outside the door, and Jerome would go like this. Fuck that guy. I don't give a shit what that fucking guy says. Let's go out there and play for each other inside this locker room. I don't give a shit what that coaching staff thinks. And so like this, if you heard that, Jimmy knew how to manage that.
Right.
But if you heard that as an outsider, you would think this guy was being disrespectful and being a malcontent.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. But, that was Jerome. I mean, for all those things, he was look how he played on the field. Tremendous.
So let me throw this at you here. Is it a statement, and is it a poor statement that many places have Jalen Carter now starting next to Fletcher Cox? They've already put him in there, and Jordan Davis is the swing tackle.
Is that a poor statement on Jordan Davis, you mean?
Yeah.
Or I guess if that's how it pans out, we don't know. I mean, people are just assuming.
Agreed.
I watch all these projections that this guy's going to come in and start all the time, and then they get to training camp, they get to preseason, they get to the regular season, and it's not the case. So I have to wait and see to worry about it. But I think as far as Jordan Davis goes, I think he's got to get better conditioned. I think a lot of the issues with him last year was because he came in such so out of shape, and it took him a while to even kind of get his feet under him, and then he got hurt. So I think Jordan Davis. I mean, look, you don't have that kind of athletic ability, that talent. You can't tell me this guy cannot be developed into a really good player. But he's going to have to put the work in. He's got to come in shape.
What'd you make of the 30th pick with Nolan Smith?
I thought it was an absolute steal. I mean, I thought it was an absolute steal.
I think he went in the right place, too.
See, I had him around 15 to 20. I thought 10 was
that's
too
okay.
early.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I thought 10 was too early for him. But when he fell back to 30, and the amount of wide receivers and offensive players that kind of were already off the board, I thought you had to go defense there, and I thought it was the right pick. I mean, the guy's tremendously talented.
Where do you go in the next 2 days of the draft?
I think the Eagles have to spend some picks on some offense. I mean, if you look at it, the Eagles, and we've talked about this before, free agency, all the resources have been defense. First 2 picks of the draft, it's all been defense. I still think you need another offensive lineman. I still think you need a running back. I was really upset. I was maybe more upset that Jamar Gibbs went at 12, because it was like I was hoping he was going to fall later to us. So, I still think you need a running back. And maybe you want to make a trade for one or something, but I still think they need a running back. I still think they need another offensive lineman and maybe a slot receiver. So I think they should spend some of these picks on some offense.
Isn't it shocking that 2 running backs went ahead of any wide receivers in this draft?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember where I've seen 2 backs taken before the first offensive wide receiver and perimeter guy was taken.
Yeah.
That's what made this draft a really hard draft, because once it started with all the a lot of trades too that were in this thing here.
Yeah.
But there was a run of wide receivers as we got towards like 20.
Yeah.
I think there were 4 taken in a row, but I mean
in a row, yeah.
I mean, so you think they need another running back?
I think they need another running back. I don't know how anybody can, and I know people tell me, oh, no, we're good. I don't know how you can look at Rashad Penny and say, yeah, we're good with a running back. We're going to be fine all year. The guy's never played a whole season in 5 years. So to me, I don't know how you can trust that. I think you need another running back.
Have you changed your opinion on Howie? Or are you one of these guys that, because I'm that way too, because you got to go by what he's doing. I mean, one day he's doing this, one day he's doing that. But it just seems to me, when I first started talking about him, Philly, he had a really negative connotation about him and a negative aura about him. Now, this guy's shit doesn't stink in Philly, man. People look at him as the best executive in the city now, and maybe in the history of the organization.
I think he's earned it. I have not been a Howie fan. I'm going to have to do an apology video next week. I said if he had 3 good drafts in a row, I would do it. So I used to kill him. And when his first stint before Chip Dip Kelly came in and sent him to the broom room, I really didn't like him. I think it was warranted because there were a lot of football people around the league that didn't want to work with him. We heard that all the time. They couldn't get GMs or somebody to come in. Nobody wanted to work with him. He changed a lot from that point. And I think he deserves a lot of credit. It's not easy to kind of humble yourself like that.
It is.
And do what he did. And you got to give him credit. No doubt about it.
I told everyone when people were talking about Joey Porter Jr., he's not a first rounder. He's too slow. And this is why he's not been drafted. However, he's a value pick now because to me, he's a guy that you could have took at 20, between 20 and 31. You could have took him there. Eagles look at him maybe in the second round and do this. Check it out too, Philly. Don't play him at corner.
Right.
Play him in the slot.
Put
him in the slot corner because you don't have to be overly quick. And guess what? You could do it. CJ had a lot of shitty plays last year that were covered by those corners. Yeah. And you put him in that slot or you line him up in safety. I mean,
that's where I want him.
You can do things with him there, in my opinion.
I think with his size, I think he could be a really good safety in this league. I agree. And Brian Branch is still on the board. Now, I wouldn't mind making a play for him. I said go offense, but if you could get me a Brian Branch, I would be okay with that. In the second round, because I think he could come in and he possibly could start right away for you. So that I think definitely a safety or defensive back is something they could definitely use. But what do you got to get another offensive lineman? I still think you need a running back, man.
And I think there's guys. There's still dudes in the room here. I think that Osiris Torrance, the kid from Florida, he's still on the board there too. What do you make of this now with the trend that's going on with the way Howie's handled the draft? Jalen Hurts, Bama. Devontae Smith, Bama. Landon Dickerson, Bama. Georgie got Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter. Nolan Smith. Nakobe Dean. Do you read anything into that on what they're doing here by staying in those programs?
Yeah, they're betting, they're hedging their bets that those are going to be the better players. I say it's beautiful. The Eagles used to try to go like Pac-10 or whatever, and they used to go all over the place, and they would have bad drafts. Stick in the SEC. I think you're okay. Alabama offense, Georgia defense. I like it. I think it's simple. Keep it simple.
How about two last questions here for you. How about, don't you think that this is being also built? If you're on the outside and you're a potential free agent and you're watching what's going on in Philadelphia right now, players and free agents wanting to come and play.
Right.
They're winning. They're watching the GM. And at the end of the day, too, guess what, Philly? What he says is true. You may not make a ton of money on this first contract. It's a one-time contract, okay? But you're either going to make it here or you're going to make it somewhere else, and we're going to give you the opportunity. Yeah. I don't know about you, man, but to me, when you start compiling great talent, winning, the quarterback's under contract, all of that, I think the environment in the building is best it's ever been.
I agree. I agree. I think it's really good right now, and I'm hoping that all that works up with one of these running backs, maybe Derrick Henry or somebody like that we could snag. Now, would that just make the draft? That would be it. That'd be
wait a minute.
Go smoke a cigar.
So you're saying this? Go get Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? I mean, you just killed the.
You wouldn't need a guard then.
No, you wouldn't. I mean, to me, I like I said, why not do something like that at this point? I think it would be great. I'm even open to like DeAndre Swift if Detroit's willing to trade him. Although I do worry about his injury history too. But I think they need another running back, Big Sills. I do.
Fletch and Slay, Mississippi State guys. Hey, man. All I'm saying to you, man, is that this has been – now, listen, are you disappointed with not Bijan being on the team, or are you okay because they did take the best player in the draft?
I as we talked about before, I had only two guys that I would have taken over Bijan Robinson, Anderson and Jalen Carter. So to me, if they both, Bijan and Jalen were on the board, I would have taken Jalen Carter. Now, I truly believe this, though. Let's say Atlanta would have taken Jalen Carter. I believe the Eagles would have took Bijan Robinson. I believe he was going
completely.
To be
I agree with you.
So I'm okay with it because we got Jalen Carter. If Seattle would have took Jalen Carter and then Bijan would have went to Atlanta, I would have been pissed off. I would have been very pissed off today. But it worked out.
Last one here for you. Anything in the draft surprise you? Was there anything that surprised you last night, non-Eagle?
The Jahmyr Gibbs pick.
Me too.
That really shocked me a lot.
Floored me.
Yeah. I mean, it's what, 12? I mean, there's so much talk about don't take a running back in the first round, 2 go in the top 12. So much for that idea, that floor. And then Will Levis really fell.
How about the Christian Gonzalez? I mean, it fell in New England. I thought he was a top 10 kid. Yeah,
I did too. And all the talk about the Colts love Levis, that turned out to be a bunch of crap. So, those were the two things that really surprised me. I thought Houston, I thought that was kind of gutsy to trade back up to get Will Anderson Jr. as well. So
you gave up future ones for an edge rusher, not a quarterback.
That's a lot, yeah.
Crazy. Very seldom do you see people giving up ones for edge rushers and not them being quarterbacks,
Yeah, exactly. So it was interesting. It's going to be an interesting night tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. This is where you're going to create the depth on the football team or these next 2 days. Yeah, and this is where they're going to get some quality guys, and they do a really good job in the latter rounds. Make sure you check out Philly 500's podcast. It's one of the absolute best sports, one of the best ones in the entire area of Philadelphia. You do such a kick-ass job, my brother. You always find time for big sales. Hey, always. And by the way, remember, man.
I love it.
This kid's this dude here, bro.
So I swear, I miss that guy, man. I'm glad.
Well, guess what? Maybe business can be finished now with Jalen Carter here. And this guy can put in a Hall of Fame career now here. Philly, thank you, brother.
Thank you, my man. Take care.
You got it.
Bye.
Please hit the like button. That's my friend Philly 500. We will continue on the draft. Also, wait till you hear what people are saying about Jalen Carter. This is a good thing. Okay? Some people on day 2 to take a look at. We're going to look at that. Hit the like button.